The Armenian parliamentary government is one of the newest ones in the world. According to the changing constitution of Armenia in 2015, Armenia transitioned from a semi-presidential republic to a parliamentary one in 2018. To get a better understanding of the structure of the Armenian government, we will compare it with that of Germany, as the current German political system is also a relatively recent construct dating from 1949. Legislative body. The German legislative branch comprises of two major political bodies, the first one being the Bundestag. The members of the Bundestag are elected for 4-year terms. The method of election is known as mixed member proportional representation. This means that each voter has 2 votes in the elections of the Bundestag. The first vote is for the representatives from their electoral district, which means that half of the members of the Bundestag are elected directly. Then the other half are elected from the lists of the parties. This produces a Bundestag with 598 members. Because there are many political parties, no one party gets an outright majority. A successful or at least a viable parliament requires coalition building between the political parties. Meanwhile, the Bundesrat is formed by the local elections of each of the 16 states on a rotating 5-year basis and acts as the voice of the states. Because Armenia is not a federal republic, a body similar to the Bundesrat is not needed in its governance. The Armenian legislative branch is made up of the National Assembly. It has 101 seats, but with additional seats allocated, it may grow to 200. Unlike Germany, in Armenia, people vote only for political parties. Another big contrast is that in Armenia, if a party does not manage to win over 50% of the mandates, then the second round of elections must be held. A similarity between these two systems is that both of them are elected on a proportional basis. However, the National Assembly elections in Armenia are held every 5 years, unlike the 4-year term in Germany. Both legislative bodies have the power to issue a vote of no confidence over the Prime Minister or the Chancellor. Executive branch. The executive branch in Germany is made up of the Chancellor, the Cabinet, and the President. The head of the state is the President, who is elected for 5-year terms. The voters in the election for president are known collectively as the Federal Convention, which consists of all members of the Bundestag and an equal number of members nominated by the state legislators, a total of 1,260 people. Although the president has some real power, like the ability to dissolve the Bundestag or veto laws, he rarely uses it, and his position is mainly ceremonial. In contrast to Germany, the executive branch of Armenia is made up of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. The President of Armenia is not included in the executive branch and is considered a separate body. He is directly elected by the National Assembly for a term of 7 years. Just like in Germany, a president in Armenia is also a symbolic figure and has the power to apply to the Constitutional Court for the purpose of determining the compliance of the law with the Constitution. However, as a contrast, he does not have the power to appoint the Prime Minister or dissolve the National Assembly. Every 4 years, the President of Germany appoints the head of the government, the Chancellor, who is then voted on by the Bundestag. The Prime Minister of Armenia is elected directly by the National Assembly. In both cases, a pure majority of the Bundestag and the National Assembly respectively must be achieved. The functions of the Chancellor and the Prime Minister are to pick a cabinet, coordinate the work of the government, and determine the main direction of the government policy. Judiciary branch. The judiciary branch of Germany is the Federal Constitutional Court made up of 16 judges. Half of them are elected by the Bundestag and the other half are elected by the Bundesrat. These judges serve for 12 years. The Constitutional Court ensures that any legislation does not violate the German Basic Law. Just like in Germany, the judiciary branch of Armenia is also separate from the other two bodies. Unlike the 16 judges in Germany, it consists of 9, who are all elected by the National Assembly. Their functions are also similar, administering justice, interpreting laws, and making sure the bills are passed are constitutional. Overall, the basic structure of the two parliamentary systems are quite similar. Although the systems also greatly vary from one another, most of the differences come from the different historic paths like the countries have taken and the differences in size of territory and population.